Well, hello everyone. We are here for round 5 against Philip J. Fry, and looks like we won the die roll. Philip J. Fry is playing a Gush deck, so it will be imperative for us to try and get some disruption, especially on the play here, and to try and slow down his combo. And this hand is quite perfect for that. We've got a Stoneforge Mystic, a Mental Misstep. We got a couple lands, 2 strip effects. I mean, I don't think we can really argue for anything better than that. So let's see what we got here. So let's drop our Bloodstained Mire and fetch up a Badlands. Yeah, fetch up Badlands there. And play Duress, so we could potentially nab one of his gushes. Okay, so he's got Force of Will, Mystical Tutor, Time Vault, and Spell Pierce. It's interesting, he didn't want to force that to pitch, say, a Spell Pierce or what have you, but I mean, we can play around Spell Pierce if we get rid of his force, but I don't want to run the risk of him getting down a vault key quickly. Yeah, maybe we should try and get rid of his Force of Will. Actually, that's probably the best play, thinking that next turn we can use the Inquisition to get rid of the Time Vault. Okay, Gatekeeper Malakir is not going to be relevant in this matchup, but we can certainly go ahead and Inquisition him. He may try and use the Spell Pierce on us, but we do have the Mental Misstep in case if we want to do that. I'll go that route. Okay, yeah, so I think maybe yeah, I think it'll be okay to save the misstep for even something like the Mystical Tutor. Or even the Voltaic Key whenever that may come out. Okay, so there's the Time Vault. And we drew a land. That's actually pretty good for us. So we can Ancient Grudge the Time Vault there. And pass the turn. Okay, so nothing going on that turn. We draw a Demonic Tutor, but we really wanted to try and get down the Stoneforge Mystic, so I'm going to go and try and run that out there now. And use the mana from that in case we need to use Flashback on our Ancient Grudge to leave green mana open. Okay, Force of Will. That's certainly acceptable. He got rid of his Merchant Scroll and a Force of Will, so his hand really doesn't have a whole lot. I know we know he's got the Mystical Tutor. Okay, Wasteland. Not entirely irrelevant. So we can go ahead and play Gatekeeper Malakir and have Demonic Tutor open. It won't necessarily be the worst play. go ahead and play Demonic Tutor. I think what we'll grab here, I mean, we really want to try and press the board issue here. So obviously, I think the smart play is to grab another Stoneforge Mystic. Of course, now that I think of it, it might have been a better idea to use the tutor up on the Stoneforge Mystic and then cast it last turn, but that's a little bit of a misplay there. So I think what we'll definitely try to do here is counter the Mystical Tutor here. Don't want to have him grab something from his library relevant, like a Gush or something along those lines. And going back to that earlier play where we were considering to play the Mental Misstep on the Spell Pierce, I think we got a lot more value letting that fizzle out and then using the Mental Misstep there on the Mystical Tutor. I think we just got a little bit better value out of it. Some mana drain. Nope, Gush. Okay. Alright, so we got that to stick. Go ahead and grab our Batter Skull and go ahead and pass the turn. Okay, so unless he drew into a Gush, I don't really want to walk into the potential of losing our Wasteland, so I'll go ahead and keep that on the board. So we pull up a Dark Confidant, which is pretty good for us. So let's go ahead and attack with the Gatekeeper Malik here. And go ahead and cast Bob. All right. Okay, Volcanic Island. All right, so end of turn, we will put the Batter Skull on the battlefield. And pass the turn. See what we pull up. City of Brass. That's pretty good. Swords of Plowshares is not going to be relevant here, but we can go in and attack with our army here. Okay, Gush. So we knock him down to 5. And we can play our City of Brass and go ahead and cast Gatekeeper here. I don't think there's any reason to hold it back. And pass the turn. Okay, so he plays a Volcanic Island. Ancient Grudge. Okay, that's fair enough, but luckily we have 3 mana open to return it to our hand. Ooh, another City of Brass and Skull Clamp. Interesting. Okay. So we can play our City of Brass, run out Skull Clamp. We can attach the Skull Clamp to... it doesn't really matter here. Go ahead and attach it to Gatekeeper Malik here. And go ahead and swing in, see what happens. Oop, no, don't want to attack with the Stoneforge Mystic. And that is game. Alright, so let's go to the sideboarding. So, against a Storm deck, we're going to want to bring in our 2 Mind Break traps. We definitely don't need... let's see, the cards down here that won't have a whole lot of value. The Swords to Plowshares, definitely we do not need those. Let's see. We could try and bring in the Pyroblasts. Yeah, I think maybe we want to bring in the 2 Pyroblasts and take out yeah, the 2 Guest Verdicts. There they are. So I think that's a pretty good plan here. I think the only thing we might want to consider is a Disenchant over Revoke Existence for the potentiality of a Fast Bond. So from there, I think that is exactly what we want to do. Okay, so we open up with 3 lands, Inquisition, Mental Misstep, Pyroblast, Dark Confidant. It's not a bad hand. I think we can run with this. We do get the card advantage from Confidant, so there's something to be said there. We do have the potential for a first turn Mental Misstep if he decides to do anything here, and also we have a potential Inquisition. Okay, so we drew a Lotus Petal for our turn. It's interesting because then we can try and drop a Dark Confidant on turn 1. But I think the best play is still going to be, let's cast the Lotus Petal. I think the best play here is going to be Inquisition to see what he's got with, at worst, a Pyroblast backup if he decides to Force of Will that. Okay, Brainstorm. Yeah, I think we'll counter that with the Pyroblast. Let's see what he's got. So he's got Engineered Explosives, Imperial Seal, Mystic Tutor, and Ancient Grudge. So he kept the 1 land hand, which is pretty pivotal that we did counter his Brainstorm. I'm thinking here that we really want to get rid of the Engineered Explosives. That does give him the ability to Mystical Tutor next turn, but I really think our concern right now is going to be the Engineered Explosives, because we've got too many 2-drops that we depend on for as creatures with Dark Confidant and Stoneforge Mystic. So he did not draw a land, so that's good for us. And we did draw Bloodstained Mire, so we'll play that and grab ourselves. Yeah, don't really make a whole lot of difference because we do have the plains and the swamp. So I'm gonna go with the underground sea. Okay, so we will come back here and play the Dark Confidant. And pass the turn. So, end of turn, Mystical Tutor. I think what we want to try and... it's tough. He doesn't have any land. The Mental Misstep really gets us the most value on something like a fast bond, so... I think we'll just let that go ahead. It might be the wrong move because he's going to grab a brainstorm to try and dig into his deck and get a little deep. Actually, you know what? It might be better to mental misstep this. So that's actually kind of like a time walk there. I mean, we really don't have anything, so hopefully we draw something. There's a mental misstep, so there goes the surprise. Mesmeric Fiend, it works, I guess. It's certainly not ideal. But I think it just, well, yeah, I think we might want to try and get some value out of it. Beat down with maybe a couple points and grab something like, let's see, Ancient Grudge is not too terrible, especially since he can flashback that. So, but now that I think of it, if I grab his Ancient Grudge, then it's not a problem. I can play around the mana drain, and I can misstep his Imperial Seal. So I'm going to take the Ancient Grudge and go ahead and pass the turn. So again, he did not draw any land. So Gatekeeper Malik here. Okay. So let's go ahead and play our swamp and swing in for 3 and play the Gatekeeper here. Actually, yeah. I mean, he may think that I've got Red Blast since I'm holding up red mana, but that's okay. I mean, I'd rather keep him off balance here, even if I have to use 2 life to pay for the mental misstep. So he drew a land, but he doesn't have a whole lot else going for him right now, which is really good in our favor. So we draw Scrubland and Duress. Can't complain about that, so we will go ahead and Duress him. So that's going to be a mana drain. Do we really want him to have the mana? Do we save the red elemental blast or something else? He's not going to have much left in his hand. Because he drew the tropical island. What else did he have? Imperial Seal. So you could get rid of the Imperial Seal. It doesn't really make much of a difference. So let's go ahead and swing in for 5 to knock him down to 9 and go ahead and pass the turn. See what he does. I think this is a perfect example of what this deck is designed to do, is just the right amount of disruption and card advantage when you got somebody like Dark Confidant on the battlefield, and you know, all the discard effects and some of the countering abilities that this deck has. You know, I at the beginning of this tournament I was kind of iffy on this deck because I didn't do a lot of play testing for it, but as this tournament has progressed, I think that I've grown a little bit more to like the deck. I still think there's a few changes that I would like to make, and and other iterations that I've done in testing in the tournament practice room outside of this tournament. I've done a lot of testing there, and I've made some changes from that standpoint. But I think I kind of like the way this deck has has evolved, at least in my playing it over the last few matches in this tournament. And I kind of like how the deck is really working out. So we reveal Wasteland off of Dark Confidant and draw Disenchant for the turn. So that's really nice. So there's no sense in holding back the Wasteland and going and trying to attack his tropical island here. If he's got Gush, he's got Gush. I mean, he probably would have cast it at the end of the turn anyway, and he doesn't. So that's good for us. Let's go ahead and swing in 4/5 again. Put him on a 1-turn clock and pass the turn. I think we pretty much got this game locked up with Red Elemental Blast and his limited mana base. I think this is ours for the taking, and we got the concede. And so there you go. The deck started 0-2. There was some rough games at the rough matches, at the beginning of the tournament. But the last 3 games we were able to rebound and come up with a pretty respectable 3-2 final tally. I doubt that it will be good enough for a top 8, but we should finish probably easily in the top 16. And I think that's actually pretty good considering we started 0-2. So I hope you like the games. If there is in fact no top 8 that I made it into, but I hope you enjoyed the matches and got to see a little bit of a kind of a new deck into the classic metagame. And as a 3-2 finish, I think it's got some legs, and it certainly not tuned to the nth degree. And there's a room for a lot of innovation, especially playing around with the colors. But it just shows that Dark Confidant and Stoneforge Mystic are just as powerful and classic as they are in the other Eternal formats like Legacy and what have you. So there you go. And thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon. Bye.